My name is Pete Corelli, screenwriter.
Very talented writer in his own right. Crazy Rich Asians. The Proposal.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God. So talented. But enough about me. Let's get right into it, please. Okay. We didn't do any of these questions beforehand, by the way. I want to know what your day job was when you started writing the spec of this script.
My day job was actually a night job. I worked as a nightclub promoter. And it should have afforded me more time to work during the day, but I think I enjoyed my night job a little bit too much. What it taught me, though, that was really helpful in being a screenwriter, is like you learn more about the human condition between 1:45 and 2 a.m. at a bar than like a graduate degree in sociology. And so you just study people and you get to see them at their sort of worst. And I think that was very helpful in like, you know, in the craft.
So,
and just keeping me around long enough to be able to write. Honestly, I didn't have to move home.
So, there's a lot of ideas for a movie.
Yeah.
Why would you ever choose to write a legal thriller in the time that we are living in? It seems like a horrible idea.
Well, two things there. One, I didn't write it in the time we were living in. I rewrote it in the time we were living in, but this is a script that began over a decade ago, and it came from personal experience, not from working at a nightclub. But a friend of mine, he's the youngest Superior Court judge in California. Before that, he was a prosecutor. And he called me one day asking for help with a closing argument in a case that he was trying. And he was up against it, and he basically said, like, if this was a movie, and Matthew McConaughey was, like, screwed and didn't know what to do, what would you, like, this is the speech I need you to write for this case. I'm like, okay. And so I write him this closing argument, he puts it up in court, and miraculously, he wins the case. Unbelievable. And so from there, I became kind of a consultant, if you will, to the San Diego DA's office. I would go down and watch the trials and help him through the cases. And one day I'm in court. It's like the scene in the movie. They're doing voir dire. None of the jurors want to serve. They're all trying to get excused, and the judge isn't having it. And I'm watching this, and I say to myself, what could someone say right now in order to get excused? Your Honor, I can't serve on the jury because I committed the crime. And that was the seed of this movie. I was like, that is a great movie idea. And because I had the experience of working with the prosecutors, I was like, I kind of know something about the legal world. I'm going to explore this. That's how it started.
Wow.
So you write this spec.
Yeah.
And you're writing it for no one.
No. Just for myself. Yeah.
And who are you giving it to as you write it?
Giving it to friends to read. I didn't have representation at the time. I'd been writing before. And yeah, I was just trying to get feedback. Anyone I knew in the business, I would give it to them. I finally got it to a manager who sent it around. No bites initially.
No bites mean what?
No one wanted anything to do with it. That's the polite way of saying. And so you put it on the shelf. But then every once in a while, as I was able to get some traction on other scripts, I wasn't in the Writers Guild yet, I was still really paying my dues. But I'd go on a meeting and someone would say, well, what else do you have? And I would mention this idea. And like to a person, when you mention that concept of like, it's about a guy on a jury duty, serving jury duty for a murder he committed, you inevitably get the, right? And so I was like, well, we're on to something.
That's a good feeling.
The, yeah, versus the,
No.
And so there was always a little bit of traction, never enough to like get paid $1 or whatever. And then cut to 2017. I have a manager that we share, Michael Lasker, who's here tonight.
Horrible person.
Inspired the character name of Kiefer Sutherland's Larry Lasker. I don't know if you caught that. But he's named after Michael.
Yeah, the alcoholic.
Recovering. not based on truth of Michael, but he sent the script to Matt Skina, who's also here tonight, who works with Adam Goodman at Dichotomy Productions, and they loved it and said, we want to option this, we want to make this. And I was overwhelmed, couldn't believe it. And, you know, for various reasons, this happens in this business, they weren't able to make it, but they said, we want to find someone else to make it. I said, great. And then maybe right after COVID, so this was right, like 2017 when that happened, and then right after COVID, we'd been through some fits and starts trying to get the movie made, and Matt says, okay, we're gonna send this to directors. And he sends me a list of 5 really solid directors. And he goes, and this is something you should never say to a writer. Do you wanna add any names to the list? Dream big. And I was like, okay. And I come back with, how about Clint Eastwood? Is that a
your
crazy
fucking idea?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Really?
Yeah. It was my idea. I said, is that a crazy idea? He goes, it's an insane idea, but it's a good idea.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's crazy, everybody. Really?
And he said, I happen to know Clint's producing partner, Tim Moore at Malpaso Productions. I'm going to send it to him. It worked the way the system is supposed to work. It really did. Clint, team, Jessica, and Meyer, who's here as well, read it. They read it, and they said, this is good. We're going to give it to the boss. The boss read it, and he said, okay, let's go. I'll never have it this good again.
No. This is it.
Yeah.
You should quit. So the first meeting with Clint.
Next to the birth of my children, my wedding day. The best day of my life.
Did you go up north?
No. It was at Mel Paso's bungalow at Warner Brothers.
So he came to you.
Yes, that's right. And I was, of course, very nervous. And he comes out, and the way I feel about Clint Eastwood is that he is larger than life, but so down to earth. And that comes across right away. And we sat in his office. Jessica was there as well. And we talked for like an hour. And we talked about the script a little bit, but I think it was more just an opportunity for him to kind of feel me out and see like, okay, is this a guy like that I can trust to kind of like bring this home? Because he had notes, he had thoughts, and they were all very smart. And I'm a first-time
writer.
Yes.
No produced credits.
None.
He had a couple.
Yes.
And you are faking it till you make it.
Yeah. We're both Bay Area people. That helped. We bonded over that. Although this is kind of a funny, moment from that meeting. He asked me, "Why did you think of me to direct this movie?" And I said to him, thinking I was gonna, score some points here. Well, when I was asked who I wanted to direct the movie, I said to myself, who is somebody that would be very inspired by the movie 12 Angry Men? Because clearly that was a huge influence on me writing the script.
Never heard of it.
And I thought, Clint Eastwood would be the type of person that would look at that as like a hallmark seminal movie that informed the type of morality tales that he's sort of known for. And he looks at me and he goes, it was all right.
Fun to phone it in.
Yeah. So
you have the script that you wrote.
Mm-hmm.
You give it to Skina, you give it to Goodman. You developed it a little with them.
Yeah.
Then you give it to Clint.
Yeah.
What was his?
They give it to Clint. Yeah.
Yeah. What was his big note?
His big note was strip away everything that feels histrionic, that feels heightened. He said, I remember this very vividly, this is a story about people. That's why I'm drawn to it. And another thing that he did that no director has ever done before that I've worked with is asked to read every draft of the script.
Oh, really?
I asked him told him where to send the U-Haul. And
how many drafts are we talking?
Well, I spared him. I sent him 3. I sort of said, okay, he wanted the first draft for sure. That was non-negotiable, which of course was very vulnerable, but I said, okay, I'll do it. So I sent him the first draft, and then the draft that had sort of changed the most, and then of course there was the draft that he had read. So I really only sent him 2 in addition to the one that he had read.
That's so fucking smart.
It was so smart. And he would often refer back to that original script and say, this was your instinct, why'd you get rid of it? Let's go back to that.
That's so fucking
It was
smart.
amazing.
That's
It was amazing.
So good.
Yeah. But that was his big thing. Is
So you were right the whole time. And Adam Goodman and they were wrong. But really, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I have never had that.
grounding it in a nutshell was what he aimed to do. Yeah.
Much rewrites during production?
Well, no, we were on strike, so I had to turn
It's a
this.
trick question.
Oh, there you go. WGA Vice Squad. Yeah.
You passed. So you didn't rewrite it all during production?
Not during production, but we spent 6 solid months rewriting prior to production.
Got it.
Yeah. And there's some ad-libs in there that were pretty funny. I love the one Chris Messina says about the plant. It thrives on neglect. I didn't write that. Very funny.
So, sneaky structural thing you did in it is Toni Collette being kind of the person that changes. Was that in the first draft? That she...
Yes. She was always, that character was always, it was a little bit of, you're right, it's a little bit of a trick because in a way, he's the main character. The movie is named Juror Number 2, and it always was.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's the one that ultimately changes, which is the hallmark of
Because
like,
he's trying to get away with it the whole time.
effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's interesting.
It's compelling even.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How has this process been post the movie coming out?
Surreal, of course. Seeing it with an audience is the greatest thing ever. Because I was fortunate to be able to see it an early cut, but that's off like a monitor in an editing room. It's just not the same when you see it on a big screen with an audience. I first saw it, of course, at the premiere, and I was so nervous. It was hard to really take it in. And then on opening weekend, I went to Century City and watched it with a crowd. That was just awesome. Just to like be in a movie, just watching it almost as a viewer and sort of reminding yourself throughout, oh, I'm actually the writer. It was really, really great. So just people that see the movie, that's all that we care about. I talk about this with Matt and Jessica, and I know that that's something that's just really important to Clint, is it's like, that's all we care about. We just want people to see the movie. So if, going on the stump and doing this as a way for people to come and see it, great. Like that's, to us, that's everything,
What's the biggest laugh?
I
Because
think
I know have you seen it more than once in the
yes,
theater?
I think I've seen it 4 times. The biggest
This
laugh
happens, everybody.
is the pet groomer.
Yeah, which one?
The pet groomer, when she says the second rule of true crime. I think that's people, she crushes that. Yeah. That always seems to get a laugh.
I got nothing else. I think we keep it short and let everybody go home.
Sure.
Let's do this. Thank you so much.